Akatsuki will deliver judgment.
Alright. Well, hello everybody. Transition over here, and there we go. Okay, so first off I want to say being followed by Ranma is my dream. And it happened, so good on that. So yesterday I kinda fell asleep-ish, I kinda kept trancing out. So this is 2.0, considering a continuation. I'll need to actually read up on what was going on, because I don't really remember. Yeah, I got glasses because I'm trying to do 2.0. Like me wearing the same shirt, like a complete just transition into this video. They'll have no idea that it is, or that it is a different timeline. It would just be the next 5 seconds. Also, I'm sorry, the camera seems to have been pushed up somehow. I do look really dumb in these glasses, though. And has no idea any of this is happening. This was just a small break. It's been like 5 minutes since the last video. 5 whole minutes. But either way, hello Sivia, hello Reborn, hello Lateral, and hello Sanosuke. I don't think I forgot anyone. Hope you're all having a good night. I do. I look super dumb. I look like a total nerd. And there's nothing wrong with being a nerd, but looking like a nerd? Like, should I get my pocket protector? My whatever it's called? No, that's even worse. That's even worse. You're adorable, okay? But either way, gonna continue from where we left off. They both have full houses. That's not the point. Anyways, I need to read up on what we were doing. I think the last thing we did was determine that Phoenix was actually the one winning. Blue nerd, no. That's already a special class in itself. I don't need to add blue to that. That's caused by a single blow to the forehead. Sub-basement at the Borscht Bulk Club. Touch the check button for details. Okay, so he did die over there. That is his hand. Seems like the chips are all in the same place, too. What was disorienting? What did I do? I'm sorry. I apologize. I do want to apologize pretty profusely, if that's how you say that word. It probably isn't. About last night, because I know I zoned out a couple times. Phoenix isn't even here. He's not part of this case. Grape juice bottle uses a murder weapon. Not sure why this is still intact, but it seems like this is... I forgot that I could do this. Hey, what's this? Bottle's completely empty. Okay. Why did I have to look at the bottom for that? I could look at the side for that. No, you do not need to do any of that. Also, I hope you all have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow. Go ahead and say that now, about an hour before midnight. Because chances are there probably won't be a stream tomorrow. So, as you know, it's Thanksgiving. I gotta spend time with the family by sitting in my room and eating turkey. Now, I'll probably sit out there, but... needless to say, there's gonna be a big family thing here, so... anyways, also look at these nerds. It's like, hey, listen, I'm gonna play this card game. Also, he's eating something. Doesn't seem like there's any food here, okay? Who put snow inside a piano as part of a piece? Like, I get you're supposed to be, like, Russian or something, but... I'm not gonna eat on stream. Plus, it'll be super noisy, because, there's gonna be people here. So I can't exactly sit there and, you know, make a lot of noise myself. That'd be rude. But anyways, we got all this nonsense. Yeah, probably the borscht. That's true. They did say they wanted to eat that earlier. But this guy got bonked on the head. Looks like the blood went up and over his head, so he lost his hat. Hats off to that guy. But anyways, wow, they both have full houses. We forget, there's an easy way to make a full house, and to go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat. There was no joke there, you just cheat. That's it. The defense may cross-examine the witness. He did cheat in the last hand. It still leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand. Whoever's heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat? Last hand. Both men have full house. There is 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. If you look at both men's hands, cheat more obvious. Next moment game becomes argument. Da! Defendant's trick was exposed. He took bottle in hand. Poor Mr. Smith. First she said it was a serious competition. Now she says there was cheating. Justice, notice anything odd? Testimony keeps changing. Now she says the defendant cheated. Actually, yeah, I had noticed that. Let's get the truth about this cheating first, shall we? Right, leave it to me. I'm not sure how I feel about this guy being the new Maya, but at the same time, it fits the role of the new Mia, you know? I hope he doesn't die. That'd be pretty sad. How hard is it to make a full house anyway? It is quite hard, da. Making pair and then 3 kindments of a kind same time. I guess that's right. Very difficult to be sure. You take my word as the poker head of courtroom number 3. Very difficult, da, but it's not impossible. Okay, full house, hard. Line of questioning, a waste of time. The borscht, priceless. Man, I hope he doesn't actually die. That'd be sad. 4 of each card, you say? Da, there is 1 spade, 1 diamond, 1 heart, 1 club, each card. Ease entering fact number 4 comes from number seasons. Huh, you don't say. Ah, and did you know that cards are numbered 1 through 13? Add all the cards in the deck and you get 364, a year! Huh, you don't say. Isn't that 1 day short? That's why each deck has 2 jokers. Say the second joker stands for the leap year. Thus you have a perfect representation of the year, all deck of cards. Huh, you don't say. Agree with that as an emote, just, huh, you don't say. Gonna be in this courtroom for a year if it keeps going like this. But I actually did not know that it represented a year. I did not know that was the whole thing of a deck of cards. I'm only familiar with 52 pickup, and there's not 52 days in a year, I think. I am not good at telling time. How was it clear? Ah, well, the defendant, he played the 5th ace. 5th ace? I still remember both hands very well. Mr. Smith has 3 aces. And Mr. Wright's 2. Obviously, cheating was afoot. Or perhaps I should say, a hand. Your Honor, perhaps this be added to the testimony without Mr. Payne's joke. Very well. The witness will add this detail to her testimony, please. Okay, I'm guessing that's gonna be... Yeah, he only has 2 aces. He has 3 kings. I think that's a king. That might be a queen. I can't really tell. Objection! Don't say what. Oh, what did I say? Here's the witness is mistaken. Mistaken? But my name is Olga. Look at this piece of evidence. You clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony that we added afterwards. The photos of the chips, is it not? Justice? Perhaps you ought to explain your point in a way the judge can comprehend. Oh, okay. Well, he is a pain. In other words, use your finger to point out your point. I can't point at words, sir. They are not tangible. Yes, please point out the contradiction in this photo. What particular point contradicts the witness's testimony? This one, I guess. Mr. O'Reilly, in your testimony you made the following claim. Mr. Smith hand has 3 aces. But as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces. Eek. Objection! Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. I mean, I can't count either. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held 3rd ace in question. Objection, Take another look at the evidence, please. As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand. Where's his 5th ace? I see cheating, alright. It's going right here in this courtroom. Oh yeah, he's right. That guy's totally cheating. 2 aces in each player's hand does make 4 aces in total. Hardly proof of cheating. Wait, please. It is true. I have seen it. 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you. That's odd. Must be lying, as she's most sincere. I've seen her all day. You're right to trust your instincts, Mr. Gavin. Who knows what lies in store for the trial ahead? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion. What that might be, Mr. Gavin. If you don't mind, perhaps we might examine the actual cards. The cards? Mr. Payne. Yeah? The player's hands that night was set aside as evidence, were they not? That sounds like tampering with evidence, but sure. Defense would like to request the cards be shown to the court. Prosecution will submit its evidence. Which will you examine? Victim's cards or the defendant's cards? These cards don't prove the cheating was going on. Nothing will. Now, which of these hands was more suspicious? The victim's hand's the one that was different. Because you'd move it around. Like, if they have fingerprints on them, wouldn't that be tampering with them? Because then you have everyone else's fingerprints on them. They could prove that someone else was handling these cards or something. Looking at both would be against the court of law. You can wear gloves, but these guys hired Gumshoe. I don't think he's ever worn gloves. Victim's hand that changed over the course of the witness testimony. Let's request time to examine Mr. Smith's cards. Very well, Mr. Payne, if you would. Very well. I got the victim's hand. How do I do this? Well, time's a-wasting. Get to it, Justice. Yes, sir. Wow, I have no hands on this. Hands off! When examining evidence, be sure to view it from all sides and angles. Try using the dials in the evidence viewer. You know, turning it around in front of your face. That should give you a better perspective on the case. Okay, let's do this. Another detective other than Gumshoe now. I'm guessing this is gonna be, yep, I figured. These are all red, though. Like, all of these are red. Oh no, look at this. One of the victim's cards. Back is a different color. Eh? Eh? Why'd you never check this? How could you not possibly look at this? That's not possible. But I put that card in right hand. What was that, Miss O'Reilly? Niet. I merely said, da. I have thing to do. Need to make more borscht. Your Honor. Mr. Gavin, yes? Tell me, what is the easiest way to cheat in poker? To cheat? I'll tell you. It was a rhetorical question. One merely needs a friend, a comrade, shall we say. The deal. Wait, so you mean this witness, Miss O'Reilly? She's the cheater, a professional, I'd wager. Nyarg. Also really good at handling that pan. But also, she should probably really put that up. Ah, comrade! Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her. I mean, of her mistake. Wow, Apollo, please. At least you corrected yourself in your own thoughts. Please recall the testimony we just heard. That's impossible. But I put that card in right hand. In right hand. I guess that's left for you guys, though, huh? Ergo, Miss Olga O'Reilly conspired to cheat not only with my client, but with the victim, Mr. Shady Smith. Not only did she cheat, what is this music? She cheated poorly, therefore it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim. What? Wait, you don't mean the defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga O'Reilly, are you? Time for justice. There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident. Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means I am. Wait, it means I am? Oh no! Apollo, what did you do? How did you go back in time and kill that person? Pence accuses the witness, Miss Olga O'Reilly, of murder. Oh, she fainted. Okay. At least the abortion's okay. Mr. Payne, where is your witness, Miss Olga? You just watched her leave, I bet. It appears she has lost consciousness, Your Honor. Mr. Justice? Your Honor, it seems you presented a new possibility to the court, one suggesting a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith. And that means this court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time. What? I did it. I held out. See no point in prolonging the trial this day. Prosecution will need to make further inquiries. Whoa, that was Phoenix. I was like, who was that? Objection. Mr. Wright? Can't end the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet. What nonsense is the defendant spewing now? Think, one of the cards had a different colored back. Don't you wonder what that means? Objection! What are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising objection right when you're about to get off the hook? Ridiculous. Mr. Payne, you of all people should know, Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous. Not inaccurate. Also, I just want to say, Phoenix has gone through like the most character development so far. He went from being a total nerd to a slightly bigger nerd in a suit, and now he's just kind of comes off as a punk. How should we get to the bottom of things? Let's clear up the facts about the game that fateful night. Game itself calls Nick ridiculous. Yeah, I guess. No, just phony, then just Beanie. He was impersonated first. That's the GT of Phoenix's timeline. As was said before, we altered between 2 decks of cards that night. That was said before, yes. That's what I said. The 2 decks of the club have different colored backs, blue and red. 1 color per deck. Why use different colored backs? If we use the same color, the 2 decks might get mixed. Use 2 different colors when they still got mixed up. We used the red deck for the last game. I see, but that's odd. For some reason, I have this impression that you were using the blue cards. Yeah, me too. I actually had that impression too. There's someone said something about blue cards. Whatever. In the end, 1 card's wrong color got into the mix, which means there was cheating. Yeah, a card slipped into the deck which seemed to indicate cheating. Yet, this card raises 2 serious questions. Apollo? What? Don't ask me. Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think, in the last game, when was the card swapped? There are 3 broad possibilities here. Could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder. Well, yeah, thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright. Don't let the door hit you on your way. Of course it was swapped. Oh? Might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne, but it might not be. Yeah. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. I was asking him in the first place. When do you think the cards were swapped? When was the card swapped into the deck? Well, based on this alone, it'd have to be afterwards if he's telling the truth. Because the blue deck's right there. Which means someone took the red deck and then put it there. For whatever reason. So after the murder, I'd say. So it happened after the murder? Objection! What's that? Ridiculous. What's the point of cheating after the hands have been shown? That's silly. Objection. Yes, but tell me, how would you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible. Objection. Take it from me, son. There's lots of silly in this world, but very little impossible. Take me, for example. You would think that me growing my hair back would be impossible, but now it's just silly looking. Oh? Even when the cards are a different color? Pull that during the game, you'd be caught in no time. Quite true. That would mean the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown, after the murder. Objection! Okay, this is going past silly and straight on to crazy. Ask again, what's the point of cheating after the game's over? Who would do that? Who indeed? That's one of the mysteries before us. 'Cause he's cool, and I don't remember what I gave the voice to this guy, okay? Look, the thing is, Godo is gone, so Phoenix took all of his cool powers and made it his own. Would you rather I do this voice, pal? Yeah, simple yet decisive question must be asked, pal. Who swapped the red card for a blue card? Who? The game and the murder is done. The victim is dead. Only 2 remain in the room, alive, that is. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and our witness, Olga O'Reilly. That's odd. By hearing Gumshoe with Phoenix's model. Who was it that swapped the red card for the blue? Okay, so who was it that swapped the red card for the blue, pal? Alright, we got Phoenix Wright, got Olga, and got someone else. That would be pretty crazy if Apollo thought in Gumshoe's voice, just for no reason. Never even met the guy. I don't think it'd be Phoenix. He called the thing. I mean, he had the chance, but I don't think it's him. Olga seemed pretty convinced that it was the card, and she wouldn't make that mistake, so it's gotta be someone else. Sorry, I'll stop that. The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Wright, of course. And, well, doesn't seem like it could have been Olga, really, either. What are you suggesting? That's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As a defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Miss O'Reilly at this point. Yes, I know. But she was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make this mistake of swapping the wrong color card. The card was swapped during the game, it'd be obvious. Something like you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright? Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. Just thinking of how much fun this all is. Objection. Fun? How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the card isn't the defendant, and it wasn't Miss O'Reilly, then who was it? Yeah, well, that's the question, isn't it? Precisely. Pause it as a bear's face. If I remember, I will look. I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction. New direction? We'll find that indeed after the murder. Someone swapped the cards in the victim's hand. That someone made 2 critical mistakes. I'm sure you're going to tell us that the first swapping was the wrong color card, because the one who did the swap didn't know the 2 color cards were being used. The other mistake was the number on the card. Right. Person replaced the 5th ace with the king. Also, did he have 3 7s? A lot of 7s. Sure, whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a 5th ace after all. All I knew was the game had been won with a full house. So they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in. Objection! But there's one problem. According to our case record, that person doesn't exist. True, not until now. But you have to admit the possibility of a 4th person. Though there's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime. What? Why was I never informed about this? I'm never informed about anything. I'm gonna fire my judge. I mean, the person who gathers information for me. The detective or whatever. I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright. I'm not good at swapping voices, guys. Don't know if that was clear from the 3 Phoenix Wright games I've played. Trials proceeded on one central assumption, namely that at the time of the incident, there's only 3 people in that room. I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption. I know Gumshoe helps quite a bit with the prosecution. Problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court. I suppose that's a problem, yeah. Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess. Why? Certainly, Your Honor. Very well. Trial will resume in 20 minutes. Thought we were going to go with another day, but now we're going on a recess. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright, to suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth? Well, now, I'd like to think I think you would know the answer to that. Ah, being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I have no time for mysteries. I'd only ask you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. See, you haven't mellowed out one bit, Christoph. Justice? Yes, sir. The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. The locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? Ah, you're wondering about the victim disappearing locket. Here, you can take a look at it. That's a picture of my daughter in there. She's adorable, but also just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days. One more question. Hello, Hawk. How's it going? Won the cheat that night. Was it you? What do you think?
Okay.
Okay. Hope you're having a good night, Hawk. Welcome to Strim. Murder is not a joke. And honestly, based on which picture is it? This one? Like with how they're expressing themselves, I'd say they knew each other at least once or twice. So I doubt that he doesn't care. And yeah, wish we got a more than a brief look at that picture. I only saw a pink hat, really. Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago? What I did? It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat. I never, honest. I don't know what he did. His odd he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Eh? See, poker's all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's a lot like a court case. Like a trial law? Figure out what your opponent is thinking, you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Not when I have my magic lie detector. Try as they might, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Body language can become a valuable source of information, along with the chains in their mind that says that they're lying. That witness, for instance, Miss O'Reilly, she would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Okay. Did you notice? No. Come on, who noticed that? Words, habits, twitches, it's all information in the reading. Further reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me. Now I pass the secret on to you. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals. No, you can do it. Huh? You just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will, soon. Ah, almost forgot. One more thing. About this case, you should know. I haven't told the truth to anyone yet. Knew it. I have my reasons, of course. All should be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there, defending me. I need your power. My power? I had no idea my cords of steel were that special. It's time. Real trial begins now. Do your best. Unlimited power! Okay. That's a new save jingle. I like it. April 20th. Hey guys, we're back in the courtroom. Oh, lay down the gavel again, darn it. It always makes me shut up. It's really scary. Court will now reconvene. Has our witness, Miss Olga O'Reilly, recovered? Yeah, I mean, kind of. Well, she's regained consciousness. Hasn't recovered from being, you know, covered in borscht. Count? Perhaps we can hear her version of the events again. That's the thing, you see. Quite fatigued. Looking a bit fatigued yourself, Mr. Payne. Sadly, fatigue is insignificant grounds for refusing to testify or prosecute. Defense would like to request that Miss O'Reilly take the stand. Very well. Said Count will reconvene? I didn't notice. That's pretty great. Witness will take the stand. Now she took the stand. Where's she gonna go with it? Perhaps you could repeat your name and profession? Or perhaps you'd rather admit that you're a poor liar and a poor loser. Niet. Not. She was a pirate the whole time? I don't know how to do a pirate accent. Yarg. Name's Olga O'Reilly. That's the truth, I'm a pro dealer. People call me Olga Quickfingers O'Reilly. She's a pirate. You are a pirate. Want to know something else? Not really Russian. My last name sounds like O'Reilly. Oh, I was saying it right the whole time. My last name actually does sound like O'Reilly. Russian accent was awful because it was fake. No, really? I don't know how to do a pirate accent though. I don't even do like regular accent. I was saying it right the entire time. I was doing it as a joke. And that's the truth. I hope you're satisfied. Yarg. Witness, you will tell the court what you were really up to that night. Fine, I'll talk. We had a plan, see? Yeah, see? Let me remind you are currently under oath. Any further fabrications will have a serious consequence. Fine. Like I said, I'm a pro. That guy, Smith, hired me to do what I do best. I was planted by the Borscht Bowl Club several days prior to the night of the game. Yeah, see? As a waitress, see? Mafia versus pirates. Tales all the time. You were in cahoots with the victim. Not like he needed my help. Spence is a well-known poker player in some circles, see? But winning isn't the main purpose of this game. That just sounds like pain, though. About destroying the legend, the unbeatable Phoenix Wright. Plan was simple, elegant, really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of the games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright, then pull out the planted card and trap would snap shut. You swapped the cards. Exposed as a cheater and losing on top of it, it would have made a great double play. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Indeed. Getting caught red-handed at cheating would cast doubt on his prior wins. 7 years of legend, destroyed by one little card, that was the plan. Oh really, oh really? How droll. Appears you made quite the mistake. A mistake? I agree the trap was elegant. Yet what happened to that planted card? Hey, that's right. He's lucky, I'll give him that. You'd have to be to slip free from a trap laid by Olga Quickfingers O'Reilly. Oh, really? At least her name is in red-white. That's true. Of Blue Corp. You can't forget that part. Gotta say the whole thing, otherwise you miss the meaning. It would be much cuter if she dispensed with that evil mastermind. Cute? Who wants to be cute? I'm not cute. I'm bad. You hear me? Bad to the bone. I'm a pirate. When you're through being bad, perhaps you could testify to the court. Tell us about this trap and how it was sprung. And he's just being honest. That night I planted the card like I was supposed to, and Wright lost the last hand, just like he was supposed to. Then Mr. Smith searched him, but the planted card was gone. The trap failed. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. It wasn't me with Smith, it was that no-good, cheating defendant. Surprisingly frank testimony that still leaves us mostly in the dark. Trap was perfect, I tell you. Perfect! Those meddling kids hadn't gotten in our way. Look who's talking. For what it's worth, is all yours, Mr. Justice. Witnesses like her, who needs criminals? Well, I mean, that does make her a criminal if she's cheating, but with defendants like Mr. Wright, who needs prosecutors? Best laid traps. Like I was supposed to. What's that thing around her neck, actually? Is that like a book or something? Hold it! This planted card. Which card was it exactly? The trump card. The 5 of hearts. Oh, it's her camera. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, Hawk. I forgot all about her camera. Let me guess. Mr. Wright was was to have switched the 5 with the ace to make a full house. At least that's what you were going to accuse him of doing, thereby ruining his legend. I slid it into Wright's pocket. When was this? Why, before the match, of course. While he was eating. The Borscht Bowl Club, we served borscht. And suckers. Remind me to never go there. Of course, the cod was to make its grand debut during the game. Like a good borscht, a good plot must be cooked up early to allow it to thicken. Not really familiar with the soup. Everything went according to plan. Exactly. Fifth ace came up, so it's obvious he switch went off without a hitch. Once the extra card was found in his pocket, Wright would be forever known as the cheat and a fraud. He's been known for worse. There are worse things to be known for, I suppose. That's what happened to the search. Trap failed. The card disappeared? Yeah, my trump card, the 5 of hearts. Gone. Without a trace. Poof. Zippo. Search every nook and cranny. Even his hat. Oh, wow. Even inside his cute little hat. But the card was nowhere to be found, is this correct? Never in my long, storied career. Never has Quick Fingers O'Reilly been so readily duped. Oh, really? So what happened? What did happen to that 5 of hearts? Don't look at me. Why don't you ask that cheating, lying, two-faced defendant? 5 of hearts is still missing in action. But why? Hold it. Wait. Isn't that a little odd? What's odd? You searched Mr. Wright thoroughly and found nothing, which means he didn't cheat, which means he had no reason to strike the victim. Ow, my ears. What was that? What was that just now? I said something. Something wrong, Mr. Justice? No, nothing, Your Honor. What do I do? Should I press her a little harder? I mean, yeah, I guess. You're hiding something. What are you talking about? Me? Quick Fingers O'Reilly hiding something? Objection. Defense will refrain from baseless accusations. I have one question for the witness, then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? It was one of the animations, what? Of course it's true. I did see it, honest. I saw it when Wright hit him. Ow, my ears. Why? With my own eyes. I saw it. What's this weird vibe I'm getting? Holy harsh of my mellow, man. That witness, for instance, Mr. O'Reilly, she would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? I did not. Touching her neck, was it? That's more like the back of your head. Okay. I don't think anyone laced these with drugs. Okay. What's going on? This sensation. Coming into focus. There, that twitch. I'm on Twitch. It's so clear. It's like I could perceive her habit like I couldn't before. Perceive? Gotcha! Bang! What is this nonsense? Miss O'Reilly, perhaps you are unaware of this yourself. I'm going to explain everything to you, right here. Unaware of what? Whenever you get into a certain part of your testimony, you touch the back of your neck with your left hand. My neck? Hey, Phoenix, how's it going? Hope you're having a good night. Gotcha. So what? What indeed, Justice? I hadn't noticed anything of the sort. When she says that part of her testimony, she's subconsciously recalling something. Her body reacts to the memory as she touches her neck. I'm sure of it. A memory? Would someone care to explain what he's babbling about? Highly unusual, but let's ask the defense. Claim the witness is rumoring something. Maybe you have evidence to memory to show us? Her habit is scratching her neck whenever she talks about the moment of the crime. So what would remind her the most of the moment of the crime? Miss O'Reilly, whenever you recall the crime that night, you scratch your neck. I've noticed it happens when you think about the moment of the crime. Must be some reason behind this habit of yours. I believe that weapon left an inerasable impression on your neck, as is this. The weapon. So this? That's the only weapon, right? Take that. Whenever she talks about the moment of the crime, touches her neck. So what reminds us more of that moment than this bottle, the murder weapon? But something doesn't fit. If you were the only witness to the crime, why would that make you touch your neck like you were in pain? What is he talking about now? Oh, hey Slash, how's it going? Hope you're having a good night. It was Mr. Smith that hit the victim. Oh wait, no, it was Mr. Smith, the victim, who was hit, not you. I was reading the wrong person. Objection! This is a cross-examination, not a cross-wild conjecture. The witness's habits, they're completely irrelevant. Justice, I'll admit I'm a bit confused myself. This is certainly a unique cross-examination. I'll explain later, just trust me. Now's only our chance to break her. Miss O'Reilly, please testify in detail about the moment of the crime, the very moment. Yet, I am knowing nothing. We know you're not Russian. We know you're a pirate. We know you went after One Piece. We know you have a gun that actually just has a little hammer on it. For kids, you know. Witness will testify, please, now. Where's the pan go? Bah, fine. He's the one who did it. I won't let him out. Didn't let him my sights till the cops got here. Phoenix is the one that called the cops. Mr. O'Reilly, we have a record here that clearly contradicts what you said. It states the police were alerted by a report from the defendant. Well, you know. We know the defendant left the room, climbed the stairs, and made that phone call from the first floor of the Borscht Bowl Club. For some reason, by a piano. Ack. So explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely. Where'd the lobster come from? There was borscht in there. That was soup. Why is it a lobster now? The man who picked up the bottle and swung it at the night. That wasn't the defendant. With this weird texture. Okay. Guess we're in a clock now. Guess we are a spider. Oh no, there's a spider. We are not spider. We are merely a ceiling fan. Showdown time. You dirty cheat. Check his pockets now. It's gone. Card's gone. You lose. Just then, Smith grabbed the bottle from the next to right, and he hit me. Some master cheating you turned out to be. Got crimes up in here. Hey, Zaffy, hope you're having a good night. When I came to, the victim was already dead. Is that it? That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. Came out that I was in the league with Smith, I'd be a suspect for sure. If anything, that makes you less of a suspect. Well, where does this leave us? Madness! This is pure madness! I'm dreaming! Hunt for SOS encounters can go. Well, good luck with that. There are ways to, like, increase that, I think. I don't remember what they are, though. Must have been me who was hit with a bottle. I'm imagining all of this. Here's how prosecution is at his wit's end. And frankly, I can't blame him. I can. Edgeworth wouldn't let it get to him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of events? Mr. Gavin? Sir? I believe that, as the defense in this case, we are compelled to call Miss O'Reilly a big, fat liar. What? 3 were in their room that night of the murder. The defendant, victim, and her. And she has a motive. Motive? Her plot foiled. The witness got into an argument with her client, Mr. Smith. The nomen of that argument was murder. What? I'm no killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me. Judge does have a really nice beard. More less. It's apparently a camera around her neck. Also, sorry to hear that. Jeez. At some point, I feel like you should probably just evolve it. It might take a little less time. Also, guess I'm standing over here. What tangled webs we weave when we practice to deceive. I'm a poet. I didn't even know it. So tangled we catch ourselves in the process. Mr. Right? Such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you, Christoph Gavin. What are you saying? Why not consider the other possibility? That there was another person in the room at the time of the murder. Right? Like Mr. Wright was saying before recess. A single card was swapped to the victim's hand after the murder. The one who swapped the card didn't know two cards were being used. Fourth person. Objection! Ha! This theory again. Your fourth person doesn't exist. Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here, where there's no escape and no chance for deception. Perfect place to catch the real criminal. Real criminal? And we're in luck. Clue to the real criminal's identity was kindly provided for us. Right at the beginning of the trial, no less. What? Paulo, perhaps you know what I'm talking about. Sorry. There, I'm gonna pause on here for a second. I think rubs the spikes. And then he just stops. Why is there no continued animation? Just, hand in pocket. Hand on head. You can see my hand is in pocket, but it is in pocket, I swear. Why is Phoenix dressed like a gangster? Because he is the gangsters. Now, I guess. I don't know. We haven't been given an explanation for that yet. But he has a nice hat. Sorry. Remember what I said? The fourth person who swapped the cards made one critical error. He or she wasn't considering the collar on the backs of the cards. Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur? Cards used for the last game were red, yeah? There's one person here, in our court, who thought those cards were blue. Yeah, I had that impression too, but why? Well, Apollo, think you can figure out who it was? It's not me, I swear! Does have a nice hat. Confirmed nice hat. Why do I always get put on the spot like this? Let's hear what the defense has to say. Who was it? Who thought the cards used in the final game were blue? The judge is not an option. Phoenix wouldn't care. We haven't talked to this guy. What's it say about this guy? Victim in this case, a traveler only recently back in country. I don't think it was pain she didn't know, so that leaves this guy. It was the parrot. I knew it. Polly want a cracker? No. Polly wants to murder. Become a crow. But it doesn't make sense why it would be this guy. He did say blue. He did say blue backs. But why would it be this guy? Take that! As I expected, your eyes and ears are as sharp as your hair. Sharp as your hair, maybe. I was right. Christoph Gavin, you were the fourth person that night. But of course Mr. Gavin knows the color of the cards. It's in the picture. How would he? As you can see, the photo of the crime scene is black and white, except for this one. But, whatever. But, I guess that was right? What? I don't know what's going on now. Can't tell which of the cards are blue. The ones on the floor or the table. But look, you can see the colors in... Oh, well thanks, Apollo. Yes, but when he said the cards were blue, it was well before this evidence came to light. It is true the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim, yet it was only that, a game in the purest sense. A competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions. Obviously, I'm Apollo here, and you're Phoenix, Sivia, because you're saying things as he does, and I said what Apollo said. Only the backs, Only the cause, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know the final outcome. Well, Kristoff? Mr. Gavin? Mr. Gavin, is something the matter? No, nothing. Excuse me, it was just so sudden. Right? You aren't seriously accusing me, are you? Oh, Kristoff? You know even I'd never take a joke this far. I don't know. You take jokes pretty far. This is gone beyond ridiculous. It's beyond dumb. This is insanity. The defendant accusing his own defense attorney of murder? I assure you I'm quite sane. Well, what possible connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim? I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mr. Smith either. Yeah, I mean, I guess. But Mr. Gavin and the victim have never even met. Well, what if they have? Huh? There's a possibility, after all. May have met that night, before the game started. What are you suggesting? Is this the truth Mr. Wright was staying silent about? Well, only one thing to do. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request that you testify at the court. Objection! The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin, testimonies must relate to the case. How could anything happening before the game of poker be related? Yeah, I guess that doesn't make any sense at all. I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Gavin. As I explained before, the defense believes that Miss O'Reilly... Am I to assume you speak for Mr. Justice in this? He is the defense, not you. Bam! The judge laying it down like you're just the assist here. Mr. Justice, the matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you. Does the court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony? Yes. This is Mr. Wright's strategy. He's playing this all along. I intend to see it through. I trust my client. If it wasn't right, I don't know if I would, but it's right. So, I have to be right. Defense would like to request that Mr. Wright testify to the court. It too, Justice, you would betray me, your teacher. I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin, this isn't about loyalty. This is about the truth. Also, nice, Caesar reference there. Very well, the defendant, Mr. Wright, will please take the stand. Guess we're gonna push Miss O'Reilly to the side real quick. And she's just gonna be like, alright, I'm done. Also true. I mean, Apollo has, but we haven't actually had a chance to really talk to Gavin. That evening, Kristoff and I had dinner, sat at the table with a photograph. Shady Smith walked 5 minutes in after Kristoff left. Then the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. Girl was knocked out cold, and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from the cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin.
I am honored to meet you.
Thank you for the follow, Hawk. I appreciate it. I feel like my paragraph, thanks for the follow thing, is pretty weird. You were at the Borscht Bowl Club the night of the murder? I dined with him rather frequently. And he talked to the defendant on the phone directly after the murder? Quite against my will, I had to become involved in murder. Thought I might need of a lawyer, so I called him. You were planning this all along, weren't you, Mr. Wright? They did update the Ankbot, by the way. I mentioned this off stream, but now it's like all techno and weird. Like, if you guys have Ankbot, feel like upgrade it and you can see what I mean. Because it's weird looking now. Not in a bad way, it's just awkward. It's all streamlined. You know? I got mod tools. I don't even have these. Well, anyways. Just because you would want to drag me into your little murder trial. Only thing I want is the truth. As I did back then, and now. Thought my office was doing you a favor when we took on your defense. Appears that I was wrong. Streamlined, darn it. Very well, the defense may cross-examine the witness.
I am honored to meet you.
Justice. Sir, he's lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir. That was Mr. Gavin versus Mr. Wright. This can't end well. Why can't I have a normal trial? You know, like, oh, this guy stole my little girl's bike. And he said he didn't do it, but I saw him do it. That's a normal trial, right? You had dinner with Mr. Gavin? Yeah, he dines with me at the Borscht Bowl Club quite frequently. We were enjoying a usual dinner in a usual spot, as usual. Usual. I always eat the table closest to the piano. I see. Where Mr. Smith was sitting. Thank you for the follow, Slash. There was that one that wasn't a murder trial. I forget which one that was. Which one was that? Oh, the thieving one. That's right. The one where that pot was stolen. That's right, that's right. I see, where Mr. Smith was sitting. Master Mask. So, the plates and such from the table were from your dinner? Indeed. Remnants of my meal with Kristoff. We dined for 2 hours, then Kristoff left after that. In 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So the two of them could have passed in the restaurant during that time? That would have been a fateful encounter, to be sure. Objection! Oh, Mr. Wright, what was it you said? Kristoff Gavin and Shady Smith may have met? I believe I did say that, yes. Thank you for repeating my words. He looks so done. He's just like, yeah, and? Was very different. Here I was all nervous about the meeting, and now they've just passed in the hall. Does seem a little weak as pretense for murder. Oh, it would be, if that was all that really happened. Come on, Mr. Wright. What are you hiding this time? You didn't... Well, thanks for telling me now. You just said, oh, whoa, that is very different. What am I supposed to know about that? I said that like 20 minutes ago. It's actually more like 5. About this failed trap. This is the same trap that Miss Olga O'Reilly mentioned. The plan was simple, elegant, really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. It was to plant a card in the Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut. Streamlabs chat box now? You swapped the cards. But I also said like 50 other things. And just like that, the legend will be dashed to pieces. Yeah. Harmless prank, in essence. By a quirk of fate I happened to discover. A quirk? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. A card she planted. Yeah, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game. Disposed? Where? The empty bottle and the grape juice have been drinking right beside me. Threw the card inside the bottle. Empty bottle of grape juice. The murder weapon? It'd still be in there, right? Yeah, I rolled it up and shoved it inside. Card glass makes it hard to see. Battle of wits between the deceiver and would-be deceived. Sounds like a terrific drama. Card inside the murder weapon. That's strange. Did the police miss it in their investigation? Maybe I'll take a look. Mr. Wright, the poker head of the courtroom number 3, approves of this battle of wits. Please provide his testimony with his new information. So, do I examine it now? Completely empty. Objection! Objection? There's nothing in here. Mr. Wright, if I may. Yeah? I examined this bottle and I don't see any card in here. No? Mr. Wright, surely isn't ... Surely ... isn't all you have to say for yourself. Can't say I know what happened to the card. I did put it in that bottle, however. Huh? Perhaps a 5th person came and took it out? Oh, and a 6th person could have helped. Mr. Gavin, Mr. Wright is your client. My apologies, Your Honor. I won't have you disparaging our investigation either. We looked inside the bottle. There was nothing. So what's going on? Mr. Wright hoodwinking us again? Or the card just disappear? Yes, please continue with the cross-examination. Very decisive contradictions call for decisive evidence. Oh. Push him harder, Justice. Break him. Just you and the witness in the ring. Go for the KO. You're not a very good defense attorney. Why do I get the feeling we're not on our client's side anymore? I mean, that's fair, but at the same time, it's pretty rude to be like, alright, let's punch this witness out. Okay. Christoph and I had dinner. We sat at the table in the photograph. Hold it. You had dinner with Mr. Gavin? Yeah, he dined with me at the Borscht Bowl Club quite frequently. We were enjoying a usual dinner, our usual spot. I've already read this one. Whoops, I thought it was putting me at the usual one, or the last one I was on. You made the call to the police from the first floor of the restaurant, correct? Exactly. Bell phones don't get signal down the hideout. Was anyone else on the first floor at the time? Not a soul. It was the middle of the night, after all. I feel like they would have like their employer or something, right? Or like the people who handle the cooking, unless Olga handles everything. So there in the darkened restaurant, I called the cops. After making the call, I returned to the hideout. Didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone, even though I did that for like 5 minutes. When I returned, he was dead. I mean, that's fair, Sanosuke. There are a couple witnesses that are like Larry. I'd probably wag a finger at Larry. Like, just stop it, man. Stop it. When we returned, the victim was already dead as a doornail. I'll admit, I was a little startled when I walked in. A little. He was bleeding from his forehead, after all. Guess I'd be startled too if I walked in on a scene like that. Yeah, Larry's the first one that comes to mind whenever you think of a bad witness. It's like, yeah, Larry is probably the worst witness in these games. Here's hoping he doesn't return, but I'm sure he will. Could you explain why you called Mr. Gavin? He's obviously gotten involved in a rather sticky affair. I figured Christoph's law offices would give me a friend rate for my defense fees. Not Grossberg? Ah, glad to hear you intend to pay. Oh, I'll pay in full, Christoph. It was I who got you involved after all. You may find the price to your defense quite high, my good friend. Quite high. The problem with Larry is that he lies directly to you just because he feels like he might get made fun of. Even when he's like when he is adamant about what he saw, he's fine. Like when he's actually telling the truth, like with the picture thing. But usually he'll lie just so he doesn't lose face, even though no one really cares. You know? And then he whines about it if you point it out. This is the truth that Mr. Wright was talking about? Justice, you know what you have to do. He's lying. Expose him now. Well, Dahlia's just evil. That's the thing. Like, she's evil on purpose. She's lying on purpose. But
Okay.
Larry is just kind of mean for the sake of it. Old Bag's just old. She's okay. She's annoying, but she's okay. Welcome back, Reborn. Yeah, Dahlia's a good evil character. And also she has red hair. I like red hair. Okay, so was bleeding from the forehead. There's a weird dot on his neck. That's kind of gross. That's weird. Oh, okay. I say, like, how did you know he was bleeding from a cut on his forehead? He had a hat on. Just because I'm a blue mage doesn't mean I only like blue stuff. It's like Tayuya, or however you say that in Naruto, best girl. It's a shame she died.
Objection!
But anyways, Mr. Wright, if I may, take a look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh, of the crime scene. See the victim here? He's wearing a hat. I wouldn't think you could see blood on his forehead. Good point. Justice. Next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it. Mr. Wright, can you explain this to the court? Ah, I forgot to mention something. I was the one who put the hat on his head. You? You put the hat on Dead Man's head? Or through the entire poker game. After calling the police, when I returned to the scene, his head was in full view, shining bright, just like the photograph. And picked his hat up off the floor, put it on his head. Why'd you do such a thing like that? All I can say is, I'm sorry. That's the only thing I touched at the crime scene. So, Miss O really didn't see it? It being the victim's, his head? I think not. She was out cold. I believe I was the only one who witnessed his head. Ah, here we go again. Mr. Gavin. Pardon. It seems our client is determined to lie his way through our case. Hey, he's still our client, isn't he? I believe that's enough of that. Mr. Gavin, I'm the defense attorney here. Mrs. testimony is more like a travesty. It's riddled with lies. You can see how you came to lose your attorney's badge 7 years ago. Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Christoph. Never knew. I believe it was you who threw the first stone. Mr. Wright, if you intend to ever tell the truth about this case, it's now or never. Don't be misled. I haven't told a single lie here. Eh? When I noticed the trap, I put the card in the bottle to dispose of it. When I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well. A reason? That reason is right here. Your cell phone? That night, recall that I spoke with the defense attorney Gavin after calling the police. Just in case, I recorded our conversation. What's this? Now we're all here. I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court. Christoph seemed to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. That gentleman who challenged you, he turned out to be good? Turned out to be dead. Someone hit him. Hard. You mean someone cracked that flawless bone china plate? Bone china plate? What? It wasn't you, was it? Me? Please. Cops should be here in a minute. In your hands. Should have come to that. Bone china plate. Kind of porcelain, very smooth and shiny. Not a plate, but pate. I believe he was referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead. Court appreciates the defendant's discretion of not indicating my forehead. Wait a second. Something's not right about that phone call. So I'm guessing the thing is here, it's going to be, how'd you know he was bald if he is always wearing a hat? So after Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borscht Bowl Club. Most certainly. Then, how'd he know? When did he see this bone china pate? Oh, that's right. Yeah. That was when I began to see my good friend in a different light. Something's not right. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene. When I spotted Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin, stage has been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court. Exactly how'd you come by a privileged knowledge of the victim's head? So this is your reason why you put the victim's hat back on? Your point, Mr. Gavin? It's come down to this, has it? Phoenix Wright. Something's not right here. I should play this game with my left hand. Although it's right for you guys. So, you can't even tell the difference. I will have order. Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor? I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear defense attorney Gavin's testimony? I mean, I guess as the prosecutor, I... Very well, we'll break for 10 minutes. Didn't even give him a chance to say anything. After which, Mr. Gavin will take the stand for cross-examination. Are we clear on that? Crystal clear, Your Honor. Your final recess for the day. Wow, this is a really long tutorial. That being said, we will also be taking a small recess. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both the judge's chamber. Who'd have thought today would turn out like this? Hope there's not going to be another murder in there. I do not want the judge to die. May I? Hello? I think that's a good point to be like, we're going to take a small recess. Cause I need to go get some more water. This thing is bone dry. Bone china pate dry, if you would. Long. Ah, perfect. I will be right back to get some water. You guys enjoy Steel Samurai. That's a fair point, Sanosuke. Also, cutest daughter food? What? Is this Phoenix's daughter? I thought she was wearing pink. That's all I really saw, so... This is Dahlia! Is everyone Dahlia? Is every female character Dahlia? Is Mia? Is Mia Dahlia? Is that the joke? That everyone is Dahlia? So who is this? That's a fair point, Zappy. But... does have a nice hat. This is obviously Hat Girl. This is Hat Girl come to the past. This is her real home. Where's Mustache Girl? She's probably dead. Huh? What? Hello, sir. Please pick a card. What's all this about? You magician? This one okay? Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand's about to be played. You'll need a trump card to make it. Trump card? The card you have chosen is magical. Use it wisely, the game is yours. That's all. An ace. Where do I remember that card from? Also has a bloodstain on it, so that's kind of weird. It's a spit's hand. 3 aces, Mr. Wrights 2. If 5 aces total. Da. It is true. I have seen it. 5th ace. It was cheating, I swear to you. Missing 5th ace. Wait. Blotch of red. This blood? You have your trump card. Now it's time for you to cut the deck and draw the truth. My father's fate's in your hand. Oh, so it is his daughter. Is she a magician? She has like the little heart thing on the back. I know you can do it. Bloodstained card. My trump card for finding the truth? Also, she looked way too old. She looked at least 14. Or Maya's age, which was 19? I think that was 9. No, she was 17. Because she had to have a 18 or older guide to go to that dojo. Trump card is a card. Fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. If I had to assume, I guess Phoenix adopted, which makes me a little sad. For one, I can see why he got along with Layton in a later game, but also it makes me sad he didn't actually get with someone. Girl, I've seen her recently, but where? Oh, Pearls is gonna be so mad. That's when I made the connection. Ah, yes, that thing I saw for 5 seconds. She was wearing pink then, though. Bloody ace added to the court record. That sounds like a finishing move. Like a finishing move in a fighting game. Oh, I like how he's not actually there anymore. I don't have any support. Because he's the accused. Court will now reconvene. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. Will the witness state his name and occupation? This is far necessary, Your Honor. Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom. Truer things have never been said. We've had a parrot. We had a walkie-talkie that one time. I got tased once as Phoenix. That was the thing that happened. And then the prosecutor ended up being the bad guy and the murder victim for a case that was about to reach its ending point. And then What was the most ridiculous thing that happened in the other one? Oh, the guy that was testifying ended up being the actual thief. I did not get tased in the courtroom, that's fair. Need to come up with another one then. Something from the second game, maybe. Now, from the third game, the ghost ended up being Maya all along. That was kind of weird. And then the prosecutor ended up being the guy who committed murder. So, you know, a lot of weird things have happened. Defense attorney getting the bullet for this one is just up to par, I guess. Kind of balancing things out. Usually I just get coffee mugs thrown at me. Get hair thrown at him in the first case? Did that happen? Fine, I'll play along. There's one thing we need to have me clear. How do you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat? By secret, I'm guessing he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. Just doesn't want to say it out loud. Forgive my curiosity, but what's this about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it. Objection. Oh, never mind, I have support. I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin. Oh, and they're playing the old song? That's pretty great. Mr. Wright. What do you think you're doing, Mr. Wright? Wow, things sure look different from this other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. Victim wore that hat all night, never once taking it off, except for that one time. That one time, being the instant he was hit. Oh. Mr. Wright returned to reporting the crime. The hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, you would have had to be at the scene of the crime, at the time of the crime. In other words, you'd have to be the real killer, is what you're trying to say. Not bad, Apollo. Mr. Gavin? I'm afraid I haven't been entirely honest with the court. What? Oh, I assure you, I had the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Yet I'm afraid in the current situation I see little reason to hide anything. Very well, allow me to tell the truth of what happened that night. Finally, you may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night? You're behind the bench and finally on the support role. I wonder if he's thinking, oh, this is how Maya felt, huh? Hey, look, this is the little place she hid under when that tiger guy was in here. The rage I sensed in that man in the night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked through the little window in the hideout. Must have been right after the murder took place. Victim was dead, as he appears in the photo. Bald head, unconscious girl, and Wright, holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed it was not the best place for me to be at the time, so I left. That's when the call came from Wright. So you witnessed the murder? For better or worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed. Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team? Your testimony clears this advantage to your client. Oh yeah, he's right. It's almost like this guy got accused of murder or something. What else could I say? I'm standing in the witness stand, after all. So you are, Mr. Gavin. And you had to testify as just you did. Wait. You had to testify as you just did. You had to tell him you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright? You had to say that. Because that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo? Sure. What is it? The defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared? Are you prepared? Yes, Your Honor. That's a... No More Heroes reference. That voice. Are you prepared? Anyways, can't believe I'm going up against Mr. Gavin. Trial's getting weirder and weirder. Not like when, you know, my mentor as Phoenix died or whatever. Are you ready, kid? Alright, let's see. I'm assuming I'm looking for the window. Doesn't look like there's any major window thing here. I mean, the window is here. But... well, that's a door, actually. The window's over there. Oh well. Hold it! Why wouldn't you go through the door? That man, you mean Mr. Smith? He was different from the other customers. His aura, shall we say? I knew he was a serious poker player, but it was more than that. So then, you knew the true nature of your client's job? Of course, but I also knew he wasn't engaged in gambling, which would be illegal. Oh, okay. Makes sense that he'd know. They were friends, after all. Worried for my friend, I returned to the club. You see, I feared this Mr. Smith might be someone coming to settle an old score. I wonder if anyone does hunt down Phoenix if they ever get out of jail. Karma totally would, but I'm pretty sure he's dead. Never gonna channel that spirit, that's for sure. Little window. You mean the one used to keep watch up the stairs? Yes, a relic of the ancient past. The Black Marketeers use it, I believe. Glad we have this random photo here. Why'd you go through the trouble of peeking through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier just to open the door and go through the room? I didn't want to upset Wright, you see. Upset Mr. Wright? What if they did need to channel him? I wouldn't want to see Maya's body doing that. They never channeled a guy spirit, have they? But either way, imagining her going like this, or screaming, or snapping her fingers, that's just weird. Upset Mr. Wright? Yes, what if my fears have been unfounded? I'd be walking in on their match. Bad form, to say the least. So far everything he's saying makes sense. Or banging your head against the wall, exactly. How'd you know it was right after the murder? Really, no need to shout, Justice. Yeah, sorry. I was just getting to that part of my testimony. Ah, there he is. The coolest defense in the West we know and love. Even when you're standing up there in the witness stand, some things never change. I was afraid you'd change too, right? But you haven't. You and that overbearing personality of yours. Friends like these, who needs enemies? Don't apologize for your cords of steel. You mean the second photograph of the crime scene? Precisely, you see. He wasn't wearing his hat then. I saw his head when he was dead. Mr. Wright came along and replaced his hat. Can you describe the scene of the crime for us? Hold it. Those are the only three things at the scene of the crime. Yes, as far as I saw at least. So then we're back where we started. The killer was the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? But why didn't you talk to the police? Two reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. And second, my office would ask to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend. Objection! There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime. Justice, I just said I saw no one, not a soul. But that goes against what Mr. Wright said. Ah yes, this mysterious fourth person. Who would have conveniently been the real killer, I suppose. Glad to see we agreed, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap cards in the victim's hand? Perhaps you can show us the reason why such a thing would be necessary? I'm gonna show something I can't find myself. Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out was the fifth ace. Right. Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap out a card has been raised. Can you point to a reason? I mean, I guess. I have this card. I'm gonna check this out first. Single drop of blood marks the front of the card. What about the back of the card? It's red. Interesting. So I guess this is the card I need. Now or never. Defense would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out. Go ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the fifth ace? My reason is, this. Is that an ace? Why, it's got blood on it. Right next to the spade. What? This is insane. Why wasn't I told about this? Why? Because I just got it from a magician. Could this be the missing fifth ace? Why does that guy have it? Is he a poker player? Inconceivable. How could you? What are you doing with that card? Well, that's the thing. Why is Mr. Gavin so upset? just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Wow, something fishy going on around here. Oh, that card? It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Borscht Bowl Club that night after the murder had occurred. Gave it to my daughter. Cards are a stock and trade, after all. Objection? No, impossible. Unacceptable. This court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? I aced it. Thanks, Zappy. What? I would think the only person who could claim it was fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. Allow me to elaborate. What if this trace of blood was the reason? The reason for the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime? Where are you going with this? Take another look at this photograph. And then laugh. At the victim's head. Moment of the crime, his hat fell to the floor. And that trickle of blood ran from his forehead down to the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen on one of the cards? I suppose. Killer then took the card to hide the blood. Objection! Regardless, that evidence is non-permissible. Oh? Right, regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years. You used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh, we can discuss the finer points of our legal system later. Like how we allowed a parrot to testify in court. What's important now is I've answered your question. What are you talking about? You wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene. And now, I've told you. That one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see. This is baseless conjecture. Baseless. Objection. Pointed. Oh, I did the point. I assure you, it's quite based. And it belongs to me. What? It's amazing, really, how a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yeah? Try picturing the scene of the crime. In your head. So then we go to CGI, and everyone turns into stick figures. Murder took place in the hideout. Body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table, and before the killer swapped the card out, there was a single card and a drop of blood on the victim's hand. Given this, there is one decisive problem with this scene. First one on the DS, that's true. I forgot that all the other ones were actually Game Boy games. Oh, what is it? Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on the card, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses? Which position doesn't fit the bloody card? I don't know the answer to this one, actually. I guess the victim? Because he's like leaning back in his chair. But I don't... No, that wouldn't really... No, I guess if the ace was put on the table, yeah, it'd make no sense that he was leaning back, but... I actually don't know the answer to this one. Sure, why not? Because... I do have full health, so I don't really need the hit, but... Let's see. Of course I'd go with the blue figure. You're right, well this is light blue, but that is the better blue right here. Okay, so the question is the card. Like, whose position doesn't fit with the bloody card? Would it be the second witness who wouldn't be able to see the bloody card? Like, she was knocked out, so she's not even a factor, really. Wait, is this the killer? Okay, so the killer's here. I have no idea. I actually do not know what they're asking here. How embarrassing. Whose position doesn't fit with the bloody card? I guess the victim. I don't know. No. I'm stumped. Suspense. It's one of these three. This girl is like whatever. She's unconscious. She doesn't know what's going on. I'm gonna say the victim, I guess. I don't know. Nah, bleh. This guy, I don't know. Second witness position is the problem. Second witness is... That's Mr. Gavin, yes? Second witness position is far less problematic than your sight right now. Justice. Or perhaps perilous is a better word. Eek. Now see what the blood-stained cars do at the second witness location. Afraid you're more than pair of a penalty this time. Yeah. One more chance, please. I suppose. Think it over, Mr. Justice. Well, there you go. I made my guess. I don't know. Probably the victim. The only person that has anything that has anything to do with the card. Yeah, that wasn't it. You are correct. I don't know, my thought process on that was like, he was the one that would be able to like see the card. The killer, being here, wouldn't be able to see the card. Be like right here, probably. And whack him on the head. And then this guy would be like, oh, there's a bloody card right there. Why would the killer change this card? So, I don't know. I'm dumb. I'm sorry. Unless they mean, like, do they mean body position, or do they mean actual, like, where they were? Like, body position, if the bloody card's here, it doesn't make sense that he would be leaning back in the picture. But I don't know if that's what they mean. I'm overthinking this. Darn it, I knew it. What I always do, I overthink this thing. I'm gonna press it. There. Isn't it the victim's position that's the problem? I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice. But look, the victim was stuck on the head, sending him back to his chair. I was overthinking. Darn it. I thought they meant... whatever. I think that any blow would fall behind the body, not on the table in front of him. Take a look at the photo again. I was totally correct before, but you threw me off with wanting a hint. I'm joking, it was entirely my bad. I overthought things, I apologize. If he bled in this position, the blood would have fallen to the floor, not the cards. Even though there were cards on the floor. That's right, what does it mean? Incidentally, we're sitting in swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh man. Apollo, try turning the chair around. What? Okay, I just pressed on it and... I'm sorry, I was second guessing myself. Chair is facing the other way. Would have to be. Not what I was guessing, but okay. We have to assume the victim at the time of the murder. The victim's chair was facing away from the table for whatever reason. Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which was the chair facing. When I came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in this photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. Wouldn't it be like a tell of like where he found the hat? I guess it would depend on if the hat was moved or not. But like if the hat was like under the table, it'd be like, yeah, there's no way he was facing that way. Let's take it to the next step. Look at the diagram once more. I know the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder, but this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Hi, OP, how's it going? Hope you're having a good night. Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location in the diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses? Whose location creates a contradiction if the victim was facing the wrong way? It's one you refused to help with. Why? Also, you were flying, OP? Hope you had a good flight. Hope you ate some plain peanuts. Whose location creates a contradiction if the victim was facing this way? I don't know. The killer, I guess? Think you're smart enough to... It's one of 4 people. I don't believe it. It's one of 3 people. One's knocked out. I don't believe that's one of them. Other one's dead. I guess it's this guy. Because he wouldn't be able to see the bald head, right? He would see just the front of the guy's face. I think that's right. That's how eyes work, correct? I don't know how eyes work. I've got glasses. See, Wright is taking his place alongside Justice, and yeah, kind of. Also, what's with my weird bracelet? I just noticed that Apollo has like a weird bracelet on his arm. Is that supposed to be like a watch? A really thick looking watch. Also, I like his thinking pose, just... thinking... Brain blast... He has a bracelet? Okay. Let's make a bracelet to Mega Evolve with. Justice Mega Evolve 2. That makes sense is the second witness. You mean to say I don't make sense? Oh, no, of course you do, sir, but as I thought. Yep. Okay, so I took a penalty for that one. Go ahead, heard of hearing. Did you say something? You're kind enough to show the court one more time what you mean. Blah, blah, blah. Guess the killer, then? I don't know. This... position stuff is nonsense. Oh no, not Zeus Judgment. He'll turn into a goose. Character development given a distinguishing characteristic, as if having horns isn't enough? I guess it's really not. Victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Sitting where his indicator currently is? I wouldn't think it'd be quite... I'd think it would be quite hard, yes. What you're saying makes no sense. Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall? In the middle of a game? I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light. What? Something in this diagram makes far less sense, actually. Look again at the diagram. Paul, if the victim was struck while he's sitting in the shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Try marking the diagram. Phoenix, if you know the answer, just tell me. Okay, I think I got this one. We're gonna put a mark where the killer should be. Don't worry, let's think through and see what we find in 3D. You know the victim was facing the wall time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. Where would the killer have to be standing to strike our victim from the front? Right here. Killer had to be standing, well, here. Objection! That's a box. Get points for flair, but that's about all you get. Thought I was on something here. I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible. Victim is facing a solid cupboard. Are you claiming the killer has climbed up the cupboard and hit it from above? Heh. Simple logic, really. This was the only place the killer had been standing. And that means that at the very moment of the crime... Wait, I know. The moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there. That was not where I was going with that. I thought he was just going to be in the cupboard, but okay. I mean, that's the only explanation, right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange to examine the cupboard and the hideout. Immediately. Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard. Ah, Your Honor. What? One more thing your men should look for. Please give this to the bailiff. Ah, yes. I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright. I do my best. Cupboard? But I'd rather have boards for my cups. Game just got remade for 3DS. I did see that, but I can't stream through my 3DS as far as I know. Otherwise, I was very tempted to just, go ahead and buy it instead of using this, but... yeah, of course it is. My third weakness. I'm weak to gravity, spikes, and silent letters. Mix them all together, make some terrifying Powerpuff Girls, and you've got my one major weakness. Can if you mod it. That's what I've never actually bothered with modding my 3DS or anything. I feel like I'd blow something up. Let's forge ahead while we wait. Look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime, this cupboard wasn't there. Which means... Apollo, try moving the cupboard. Oh, so it was closing the window. Thank you. As you can see... Why did I need to move that? It's not even an actual diagram. I'm just moving that in my mind. Silent letters are dumb. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it has to have been shown here. Now point to his positions who didn't work here. Now everything's in place to reconstruct the moment of crime. Oh my, what's this? Not being able to stream on 3DS will be a problem with the rest of the series. Oh no. I'll look into it. I do have a new 3DS, and they did let out support for like actual streaming. But I don't know how that works. So, I'll try not to blow up my DS. I got my Pokemons on that. I got Pokemon Y on there. Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. Appears we found yet another contradiction. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Huh? Oh, dang. Notice something, Apollo? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion. Why oh why do I have Y? I play every Pokemon game. And the reason I got Y over X is because I thought the legendary was cooler. The other one was just a deer, and I was like, oh dear, that's just not going to work for me. I'm going to go with this bird. Please point to the new contradicting indicator. Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, the second witness? This one's hard. It's this one. About this cupboard, are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. Okay, thanks for the offer, Zaffy. If I get around to it, I will definitely give you a call if I run into a wall. Finally get to name that witness. I wanted to do it the whole time. He's evil, I tell you, evil! Can't you tell by his glasses? I've got glasses, so... Oh. Hi guys, this is, Red Mage Riley here. It was totally nice of you to keep my alter ego entertained. I'm gonna take over from here. Cupboard would be completely covered up the window and the stairs. That's right, someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. Et tu? What did you say? Oh, it's the coolest defense in the West losing his cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game till someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. Someone was, while the window of that room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court. Exactly where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor. Order! This is a court of law and I will have order. Never mind the fact that I gave you the order to go explore. We just now received word from our investigation team. That was really quick, jeez. They've examined the cupboard of the hideout, Your Honor. Oh, what'd they find? Well, Your Honor, turns out there's a secret passage behind it. Okay. Not expecting a secret passage, but that makes sense. I want to put my glasses back on. Alright, fine. I guess it's time for me to go, guys. Although they don't really help much. They sharpen my vision for far stuff, but they don't actually help too much for things that are up close. They're also really annoying to wear for headphones, you know? Ah yes, I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the tricks of the room many of our regulars know about. I do remember him saying something about that now that he mentions it. I don't remember any secret passage. Secret passage is handy when you're engaged in illegal goings-on. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. The room has a secret passage. Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. Underworld bosses can get away from the cops. They enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. So now I'm back as Blue Mage Brilly with glasses. PM. Copyrighted. You know, one day it'd be nice if Blue Mage Brilly was actually copyrighted by me. If I was like in a game or something. That'd be cool. Anyways. See where this little line of simple deduction reasoning led us, Apollo? Simple deductive reasoning, rather. I cannot talk. I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked and the victim's hat was only off his head for the few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. I was in Kage's game. That is true. Please don't copyright my name first, Reborn. Because then everyone would be like, oh yeah, you're just cameoing this thing. Never mind, I've been here for like... I've had this name for... When did League of Legends come out? A while, nonetheless. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin, come on, say something. Dare I ask what really happened that night? Actually, I think we can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. 2009, then I've had it since 2007. So, 10 years. 10 long years. That's a long time. Really long time. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with destiny. Needless to say, she did not pay for her side of the meal. There he crouched, hidden in the secret passageway behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting just for the right moment. Then the chance came, and he took it. Yarg! Eek. That's what I say when I'm being murdered. What? Why'd you do that? Wait, here, I'll get help. Mr. Olga O'Reilly was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. Okay, that was her. But his time was soon to come. I can read. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out of the secret passageway into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to look, and bang! After the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. A single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Shady! And he's Smith. Too bad for him he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor. And the fact that they were all red. Guy does have a really good hat. I'm gonna have to draw that tonight. Maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow. I'll have some hours tomorrow for that. I might do a small art stream tomorrow, like before Thanksgiving starts. But anyways, seems this trial is taking yet another turn. I'm truly, truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne? Yes, Your Honor. Prosecution will continue investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he's hereby cleared of all suspicion. What? I mean, so far it's been mostly conjecture, but... Believe me when I say I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin, but I'm afraid circumstances call for me to enter a warrant for your arrest immediately. Objection! Another objection. Oh, no need to apologize. I rather enjoyed myself. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin? Frankly, I'm shocked. Well, a person of your caliber would take it by such low-grade parlor trick. Excuse me? The defendant is cleared of all suspicion. It's hardly a time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put blame on someone else, and not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney. Actually, I'm the defense attorney, thank you, Gavin. Illegal evidence? What'd I jinx? Let me ask you something, Mr. Gavin. Is there any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course. This bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking? How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints in the murder weapon? Show them my badge, exactly. I'm the defense attorney here. This guy's badge doesn't matter. Mine is much shinier. Not just any fingerprints, am I right, Mr. Payne? Yeah, actually the fingerprints were, upside down. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court in this case demand an explanation. I can think of only one reason why he would hold a bottle upside down, and that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor. It is grape juice. It's just... yeah, it's actually grape juice. See? It's not actually wine, I don't think. Just sparkling cider. I actually got some non-alcoholic sparkling cider today. Well, it's not actually sparkling cider. It is strawberry stuff. It is really tasty. See how the fish caught squirms to last. El Apollo? Yes? Every wine-looking bottle is just juice. I mean, Phoenix does look like the type that would drink actual grape juice over wine. Boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation. Just like that. Snap. Yeah, just like what? I'd like to imagine that Phoenix is thinking of karma when he's saying that. Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down other than to gulp? Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one. Is there really another? Take a look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there, in plain sight. How about you just say the answer in plain words? So, is this him getting revenge for all Maya's vague answers and Mia's? Thanks for the auto host, Archie. Okay, so there's something we're looking for here. Something that involves the picture of the bottle, I mean. The bottle's here twice. Why it's over by him is still really concerning, but whatever. You know, I don't think this was their intention, but it fully looks like this guy is not even sitting on this chair. It looks like he is just hovering a slight inch above it, on the edge. Either that or it's like tilted to the side, but they did not do a good job with that chair. I don't know if that's really obvious on the stream, but... he's doing squats in the chair. I don't have anything else, so the only thing I can think of is he was pouring it. Which is why he died. Well, Mr. Justice, Mr. Gavin said the court in this case will demand an explanation. Don't worry, justice won't leave until justice is done. Nice! You have all the best catchphrases, Apollo? Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court? What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints are on upside down? Oh, I actually need to present evidence, huh? Anything up here? No. Ooh, is that zoom in? Completely empty. There was the card thing earlier too, but I guess it's this one? Like you would reach down and then pick it up like this to pour it, right? That's what I would do at least. That's what I'm going with. It's actually easier to show you than to explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair. Excuse me, on the floor? Yeah, now reach down and pick it up. Without getting out of your chair. Ah. See? You naturally go to pick up the bottle by its neck. With your fingers upside down. That was the natural thing I went for, so... Look at this photograph, taken the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor next to the side of his piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times. Wow, I can't believe it was so simple. Carl had dinner that evening, Christoph. I was drinking my usual juice then, too. From the bottle. Basically, used the bottle on the table to do the deed. Then you must have remembered. So you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano, and you switched the bottles. You took one from Mr. Wright's bottles, one of Mr. Wright's bottles, and made it look like the murder weapon. To be honest, the fact that it doesn't have a blood stain in it would kind of point to it not being the actual murder weapon, but you know, whatever. What do you say to these charges, Mr. Gavin? Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. What? Claim that I switched the bottle. Where is your proof? Proof? Well, that's, as I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty. Objection! I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honor, when you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall requesting an additional investigation? Ah, yeah. I have your memo of that right here. Saved a nickel. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borscht Bowl Club. And here's one of the bottles in question. What are you going to dust the fingerprints to? You'd be surprised if anywhere on but his. Probably what makes such an enormous mistake, true. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything, except the card. What, every time I do it makes me laugh? Say, Apollo, why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? Why? Just humor me. You say humor you, but you're not smiling. Mr. Wright, that bottle will solve this case once and for all. Some bottle. Aha, there it is. There's something inside the bottle. I'm gonna casually take this out. I could go get a bottle myself and do this. But I can't take out a card because it's full of stuff. What is this? That card, it can't be. Recall that unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment? Miss Olga O'Reilly? Yeah, a little swindling Devoshka. And now they planted the card like I was supposed to. I lost last time, just like you're supposed to. Is this your card? But the planted card was gone. Trap failed. Wait, this isn't... You're telling me this is the planted card you disposed of? One you mentioned in the piece of testimony? I happened to put my hand in the pocket. Found a card. Yeah, I snuck a peek at it. Found it was the 5 of hearts. Had the feeling something like that might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game. I don't care. I don't know how to do a pirate accent, okay? Well, he said Devoshka, so I had to do a Russian accent. The empty bottle and the grape juice I'd been drinking right beside me. Threw the card inside the bottle. You activated my juice card. It's grape. 5 of hearts. This is the card. Bottles were swapped. The only one who could have done that was the 4th person in the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. The lobster floating up, that's great. How did he do that? Is he psychic? Does he have psychic powers? Poor lobster. Also, I guess Olga's just kind of laying there, huh? That is all. Making gravity obey him, not defying it. This your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge? Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago? My past is like my logic, straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I do is point the finger of justice in the proper direction. If it's a card game, definitely Yami Yugi. If it's a court case, definitely Phoenix. If it's poker, like they're just trying to one-up each other the whole time, I think that would be an even match. Fine. I'm glad we could have this little TT, right? I don't know how to say that. This is insane. What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone? Have you ever prosecuted anyone like Payne? Like, seriously, you've not won a single case I've seen you in. And we come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Christoph Gavin? He's admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now. Yeah. One thing is, wonder why he would do such a thing. Didn't he have a connection to the victim? Did he? None that we know of. Mr. Wright, have you anything to add? Afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter. About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. Occupation was listed as traveler. Odd profession, to be sure. That's all we know about him. Yeah. That's true. He does cheat a lot. So he'd probably be pretty good at poker, but Phoenix would win in the poker face game now, I guess. Basically, it's a foreign language, and I have no idea how to say it. I'll arrange a follow-up investigation, Your Honor. Good, Mr. Wright. Yeah? 7 years, and you still haven't lost your touch. Christoph Gavin. He was a man with much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer. He was extremely talented, to be sure. Needed 2 things before I could confront him. First was a place where no injustice would be tolerated, this courtroom. Second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo. Me? Dark time is coming for our legal system. As if it wasn't already dark enough already. Twisted injustice brought on by our very court system. Have to set it right. Mr. Wright. Have to set it right. Our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. Yeah, seems like a good time to announce a verdict. Court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright, not guilty. Woo, go Phoenix. He's free. Let that bird fly free. Court is adjourned. Whew. 4:28 p.m. Thanks, Apollo. Came through just like I thought you would. Pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. It was you who cornered Mr. the killer. I couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too today, didn't you? Your ability? Ability? Yeah, sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. I wonder if he means that little weird twitch thing. The question for the witness then. Say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. What's this weird vibe I'm getting? What was that, Mr. Wright? You have to find the answer to that question yourself. The answer, right. Today was full of questions without answers, most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have had to commit the murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Huh? Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Huh? Oh, that reminds me. I met the girl whose picture's in your locket. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure he knew about the card being handed to you. Your daughter, right? That's right, she's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Eh? I took it off his neck the night he died. It looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. Truth is, this locket really did belong to him. Wait, that's pre-jury. You testified you said that locket was yours. I said no such thing, actually. Huh? Merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. Subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. And it's the truth. Wait, then why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with the picture of your daughter inside it? Sometimes the straightest path to truth isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still just getting started with your career. Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Offices after all. Are we gonna go work for Grossberg? Are we gonna go work for Wright? he does still own that office. Can we work with Maya? That'd be pretty great. Can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Someone else has a picture of your daughter. Apollo? How about coming to work for me? Yes! Perfect. I mean, at the Wright & Co. law offices? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. Can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait, didn't you... You're not a... Oh, I turned him in my badge, yeah. Not an attorney anymore. I still own the office, apparently. Oh, if Maya came back as an actual lawyer, and she's like a student of Phoenix, that'd be pretty great. Incident 7 years ago. Legendary trial. And at the middle of it, all was one man. Phoenix Wright. Case reached a sad conclusion, and he left law for good. Now I want to know what that is. Ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in court of law, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There was a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? Talking about evidence that shouldn't have existed. Naughty magician's trick. One piece of evidence that struck me as odd, it's true. Just seemed, well, too perfect. This was forged evidence. The card? He said magician's trick. And Gavin was acting like he took it. Take that! You mean this, don't you? Got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yeah, that card couldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left. Leaving the wrong card in its place, luckily for us. Court can't accept this evidence, it's a fraud! Fraud? How can you be so sure? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. And you really... Yeah, I forged this card. Phoenix. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Who's calling themselves an attorney? Apollo? So it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. None of that matters much now, does it? So 7 years ago, he forged evidence because he knew who the victim was, or like who the real killer was, and he was like, "No, they took this thing. I have to do this. Otherwise, they're gonna get away." Your story from here on out, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office's address. Drop in if you like. Mr. Wright. How about your uppercut? Try yelling, "Take that" next time. I find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today. Had a good time. You know, knowing that my friend is dead. And my other friend's a murderer. With that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. Take that! That's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved, and at the time, I had no idea they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. I'd find that out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law. And this is how my story begins. The end. So when anyone says... Anytime anyone says attorney at law, I'm like, Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. All the best lawyers are birds. It may be a shame, but hey, that's just more to look forward to next stream, because we are going to be stopping here. It has been 2 hours, and it's pretty late. It begins, the end. Turnabout corner? You turn every corner. That's the point of corners. You go around them. And that's how basic direction works. But anyways, I'm assuming the daughter's going to show up the next time. I'm sure she's probably at the office. But I'm sad that I haven't seen Maya yet. Or Pearls. It's been like, what, 7 years? She's probably like a master of the Kurian channeling technique now. Bird-themed attorneys. Exactly. And what is the bird of justice? The eagle. So obviously Apollo is the eagle. But anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of the stream. So it took us 2 streams to do it, but hey, it also took us like, what, 4 hours to do it anyways? But hey, I didn't zone out this time, so that's good. All these spoilers you can't say, but don't worry. We'll get back to it. Probably not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Hope you all have a good Thanksgiving. Spend time with your family if you got them. That was rude. Or if, they're around. I know some people have family, like, way out there. Like, I have, my step family is 3 states away. American Thanksgiving is tomorrow. Yeah, Canadian Thanksgiving was October, I believe. But either way, thanks for watching the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed my bad voice acting, as always. Potential art stream tomorrow for some emotes. And hello, Alien Storm. Sorry to say we're about to end. But I hope you're having a good night, and I hope you have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow. Just in time for Just Ice. Melted ice. But, oh, thank you, Hawk. I appreciate that. And I will see you guys later. Probably Saturday for a good stream, like a long stream. Should have done that when the pirate girl was on there. But thanks for the 100 bits, OP.
Thanks for stream.
Thanks for stream. Thanks for watching stream, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. I'll stare at you awkwardly for a couple seconds.